Alright, so I've had a gaming channel in the past, gaming YouTube channel, and not that it, did very well. It is still up, all the videos are still up, but I figured, I'd expand out and expand my brand here. I don't just do comics. I care about lots of things. I, play guitar and drums. I love watching TV and movies. I have read, not recently, but have read plenty of, books with just words and no pictures, like an adult. And I also play lots of video games. That was my thing before I got it back into the comic world. And a video is coming out soon, addressing my thoughts on the PS5 Pro. But I just sort of wanted to, touch base about video games in general, because I've been seeing a lot of discourse about it recently. For some reason more so than usual, and I'm not sure if that's just the algorithm targeting me differently, or if that signifies an actual trend, but I want to discuss it anyway. Either way. I have all three of the major consoles when it comes to 7th gen. I think Switch counts as 7th gen. And I don't quite know how that would fit in because of the Wii U, but I have a Switch Lite right next to me, actually. See if I need to charge it. I have a... Nah, it's fine. 87. I have an Xbox One, just the original one, and I have a PS4 Fat sitting in front of me, as well as access to a PS5. So I have, and naturally the PC that's sitting before you. So I have played 8th gen games, though generally they're not my favorite. And there's something with that. Generally they're not my favorite. And more and more people, myself included, keep going back to especially retro games from the 90s and early 2000s, but even games from 10 years ago people are now going back to, and I think it's partially because of a feeling of nostalgia for those games that now some people like myself have grown up with, and so they return to those. But I also think there's a downward trend when it comes to the gaming industry. Now, I've never been one of those people, and I'm not going to be one of those people who says the gaming industry is dying, or gaming isn't good anymore. That is not just a gross oversimplification of what's been happening over the past 10 or so years, but it's also doing a massive disservice and almost offensive to any decent, halfway decent indie game developer out there, because there are many, many good ones. So to say that gaming as a whole isn't good, no, it's just you hate EA. I mean, most of them, they just hate EA, and I mean, who doesn't? But you still buy their games, don't you? I mean, a lot of the people I think who are complaining right now continue to buy all the AAA games and are pre-ordering them, and then come to find out that, oh no, they don't like it. It's like, oh no, who could have seen this coming? And I think that's a little bit dumb. So, in that case, what's the solution? Well, the solution is don't buy Ubisoft games, don't buy EA games, and continue always buying indie games that you actually want to support and you think are really good and well developed. And that's the solution right there. I mean, grow the indie game industry. I mean, it's already had a massive boom over, I'm gonna say it again, the past 10 years. But we've seen massive increase in the number of games that just spectacular indie games, and I have many. But that being said, as a person who thinks that that's the way to move forward, if you want to massively change the way that games are going, I bought Gotham Knights. I bought I have all but the two newest Assassin's Creed games. Let me see. I don't play Fortnite, but I play Minecraft. So, in me saying that, it's not, you should be like me. I'm saying this is not the ideal gamer, but if you want to fix, in quotation marks, the gaming industry, that's what you need to go for. And obviously, I am not one of those people. Why is that? If I don't like a lot of the games being put out, and if I'm, sort of siding with the people who say gaming it just isn't good anymore, then why am I buying those? Well, I buy games almost always on sale. As you can see right in front of me, special offers are right there. Now, I know that's a Steam thing, but I actually look at that. That's what I actually do. I will not buy a game unless it's on sale these days, or just a used physical copy, which I haven't done for a current system. I haven't done that for a year or more. For retro games, last time was less than a month ago, but I got Superman Returns and instantly regretted it. But that's a story for another time. I buy games that interest me, no matter who they're made by, or who they're made for. Obviously, certain things appeal more to me than others, and I don't play all games and all types of games, but I will buy anything that suits my fancy. And I think that's what the majority of people do. I mean, it just makes sense. You buy what you like, or you think you'll like. But I can also understand why people will boycott studios and publishers like Ubisoft, for instance, and EA. And I don't... with those specific ones, I don't disagree, but I think it's almost a little bit silly, because if the game is actually good, or you think it's good, or just plain you enjoy it, I don't see any reason why you would stop yourself from playing a game that you might enjoy. On the other hand, they're selling games for $70 that are unfinished messes and not very polished in general a lot of the time. So, like I said, I don't blame anyone who decides to go the route of just straight up boycotting everything. I myself have followed things like Star Wars Outlaws, for instance, and Avowed. Actually, let's check up on Avowed. Oh no, it got pushed. It got pushed back. Avowed is a game from a gaming studio that I really like. Obsidian, if you don't know, they made Knights of the Old Republic, I believe 1 and 2, and they made Fallout New Vegas, and more recently, back in 2019, they made The Outer Worlds, and are currently working on The Outer Worlds 2. Avowed was slated for a fall 2024 release date, I believe in October, the last time I checked, when the successors to E3 came about. The Xbox Game Spotlight or whatever, so I watched that, and I was very excited. And now 5 months. Well, they'll send me an email when it releases at least, so that's nice. Avowed is basically what it looks like. I mean, obviously you can see, but in very basic terms, it seems like Skyrim, but made by the people who made New Vegas and The Outer Worlds, which is something that I would play the hell out of. It would probably become one of my most played games extremely quickly. But now it's pushed back to February 18th. I will most likely be getting it for the PC. If my PC can't play it, though, I will be getting it on the PS5. So, this is a AAA game. I mean, it's published by Xbox Game Studios. It doesn't exactly get more AAA than that, other than maybe EA. But I'm gonna buy it and it looks excellent, and they even pushed it back probably to work on it even longer. So gaming as a whole isn't dead. Now, I know, I can hear the comments now. It's not about the specific games. Giving one game isn't a, that's an example of an exception to the rule. I hear you. And one of the biggest concerns is the increasing amount of schlock with microtransactions. And, well, let me just pull up the page. This is what people hate. This is the problem. This is the problem here. This is what people hate. This is the fear. And I completely understand it, because why would anyone want to play this? I mean, nobody does. Will it tell me how many people are online if I don't go into specific things? I don't know, but there's several hundred people who consistently play it, which is extremely low. And that was within the, first 2 months or so of the game. People do not like games like this. And this specific game, I watched the What Happened episode, I know. It had a very troubled development. It was in development hell for the better part of a decade, but... And this is a specific case for a factor of reasons, something I can get into because it relates to comics and it's very DC-oriented like myself. But this signifies a general trend. We saw it with Avengers, we saw it even, I believe, with Guardians of the Galaxy, and we saw it with Suicide Killed the Justice League, which... not enough gameplay, not a solid grasp of story and mechanics, not an intriguing gameplay loop, and a focus on microtransactions. Sorry, I'm distracted by... I didn't realize that you could play as bastardized versions of the heroes that you get to kill throughout the game. We still have never gotten a Justice League game, ever. We've never gotten a Justice League game, but this is what's being advertised. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Anyway, sorry. Gaming isn't dead, but it is being hurt by bigger game studios. Like Rocksteady, now. I never thought they would, sink to the level, but, Warner is publishing it, so anything can be made terrible. But... I'm getting a little too negative. I'm not negative. I'm not pessimistic about the entirety of the gaming industry. We still have games like Nirvana coming out, which... Let me see if I can spell it. I know it's been pushed back into possibly never being come out. Possibly never coming out. It was supposed to come out like 2 years ago or something, but... it's on hiatus, but it will likely come out, and we still have so many games like this where the people obviously care what they're doing. They obviously have a big passion for video games, just like so many creators have a passion for creating indie comic books right now, in that side of things. And there's so many people making so many great things that the idea that gaming is dying is like the idea that comics are dying. Don't listen to what Thinking Critical says. I'd say in general, but especially on the numbers of the comics industry. I don't know if they fudged it or what, fudged the numbers, but those aren't accurate. Comics have not seen a massive decline since the, in quotations, wokeness that has been put into them. Since around 2015, really, that's when it really started, with the, as they'll say, forced diversity and things. And while I do think that there's a lot to criticize regarding that, it didn't affect comic sales nearly as much as people say it did. I think the main thing was the New 52, which was extremely different than Marvel's model. And the main thing that turned people off to comics was the New 52, and I wouldn't blame them for that. It certainly did for me. It took me a lot longer to get into comics because of the New 52 and everything regarding that. But we have comics like tons and tons of indie comics coming out. We have tons and tons and tons of indie games coming out, and people actually care. It's not just, porn games. It's not just crap, shovelware and porn games. People actually care about games like this. And if people care about making them, and they advertise them enough and get the word out enough, which they have for games like this, people will respond to that and people will buy that over the bigger games. And eventually, the big game companies, and especially the publishers, more so than the developers, will see that what they're doing isn't working, and it will bounce back. It will. That, or companies will go out of business, and companies always go out of business. You look at the gaming industry throughout the years, so very many companies have gone out of business. That's just a part of life. Those people will move on to a new studio or a new career, and the cycle repeats. It's all a cycle. It will come back around. Gaming is not dead. And the best thing that you can do is support indie devs. That's always the way to go. If you want something to be better, find an indie dev or an indie writer, comic book creator, or I don't know if there's a TV equivalent. Well, YouTubers and things like Glitch Productions and stuff like that, making The Amazing Digital Circus, and support them. Watch their stuff, engage with their stuff, maybe engage on a Reddit community or somewhere else that's not Reddit, because Reddit's Reddit. Get hype up about it, help them out, and love their work. Get the word out about it. Give them a little bit of free publicity, It's like tipping the bellhop, And you'll start, if enough people do that, you'll start to see an impact. And people will continue to buy AAA games. People will always buy AAA games. A bunch of reviewers will buy AAA games as soon as they come out. And we will continue to think those people are silly, and we can move along with our lives. It doesn't have to be this massive war, the war on gaming or whatever, It's not... I think people like to sensationalize it a lot because that's the sort of news that sells. Fear and anger sell the best. This isn't a secret. Fear and anger sell the best. And so if you say gaming is dying, well, I care about games. I don't want games to die. I want to continue getting good games. And all of those things are true for me, of course, naturally. But so without considering the broad, massive industry that is the gaming industry, which is probably, I don't have the numbers, but probably bigger than it ever has been, thanks to the pandemic, the increasing number of consoles, and the increasing compatibility and availability across platforms and things, and the relative cheapness to get, especially older consoles. There's been a massive uptick in players since the pandemic, at least. Though I reckon it extends much further than that in time. Gaming is not dying, and the idea that it is fear-mongering. That's what it is, because it's engineered to get a reaction out of you. And if you get that reaction out of you, then you can get mad about it, because you care. And it's not any one company, it's not any one news outlet, it's not any one YouTuber. It's a culmination of this, really, greed. Because if they can get you angry, then you want to stay up to date on things, and then you give them more attention, and that's what they want, because it makes them more money. And I can't really blame them for that. I mean, why am I talking about this, Is it because I want to keep you informed and not angry? Well, yes, I'd like to. I mean, that's one reason why. But it's also to get your attention and maybe your money if there's ads or something, you know? There's always, not always an ulterior motive, but for companies, pretty much always is. They don't just want to give you something good. And again, I can't blame them for that. That's their job, is to make money and to make products to make money. But don't believe the hype. Don't buy the hype. By buying the hype, you're selling yourself to them, and there's no reason for that. There's no reason to get angry and to get fearful when there's nothing to fear. Sure, there's a trend of bad games. There's a trend of bad movies that we're starting to see end for one reason or another. Some would say there's a trend of bad comics. I'm not as in tune with that world. Surprisingly enough, I haven't been for a while at least. But it all circles back around. And as long as we focus on what we actually love about games, the quality over the quantity, and focus on the storytelling of games and media in general, it will be fine. It will end up okay. I sincerely believe that. I am not worried, and I try not to let any of these news outlets or anything, game news outlets, get a rise out of me. So, that's what I have to say about that. I think I'll just end up repeating my points if I continue talking about it. But, before I go, what are some games that I'm, looking forward to? What am I waiting on, basically? I don't know if there's a following list that I could look at. That would be cool. There's stuff for me, but I don't generally check the following stuff. Yeah, there's a wish list, but I don't know. What about stats? What is this? Interesting. That's pretty close to the peak online. If gaming's dying, why are there 37 million people who have been online at once? And why are there 23 million right now? 23 million people are on Steam. The biggest platform on PC. It's been around since what, 2003? So just over 20 years. 23 million people. It's 1 a.m. where I am. So you can see. 1 a.m. 23 million. But gaming's dying. I know. It's been higher. And we're looking at what? Past few days. But that's not... Don't buy the hype. Steam download stats. I want to see Steam download stats. That's cool. Mostly China and the US. More in China than the US. And then the next biggest ones are Canada, Brazil, Germany, unsurprising. Brazil, kind of surprising. Russia, unsurprising. And then Canada, followed by Mexico and a whole host of other countries. So that's interesting. But China and the U.S. I guess that shouldn't be surprising, but China downloading Steam more is a little surprising to me. Anyway, that's cool. I didn't know Steam offered that sort of thing. So what games am I actually looking forward to? What games am I keeping up with? I keep up with a bunch of comics these days, but I don't really get to talk about what sort of games I want to play. Well, there's two games in particular, which I already alluded to. I already talked about Avowed. But there's some other ones as well, so I'll go over those. Star Wars Outlaws has been getting a very negative response some places, but I think that's a lot of bias on it's an Ubisoft game, and I mean, I can't say that I like them per se, but if they're making something that I'm gonna like, then I might like it. Star Wars Outlaws has gotten generally favorable opinions by critics. It came out very recently. Unfortunately, not on PC, but I'm considering getting the PS5 version once it, drops down to maybe the $40 range. It's currently at $70, I believe. And it's an open world game. There were some complaints, mostly the average, the general complaints, and that's fine. Got a 7 to 10 almost across the board, which is that's enough for me to buy a game that I think looks interesting and play it with the sound off while I watch YouTube or something. That's the sort of game it seems like. So I might get that one in the future. The two games that have come out relatively recently, it's what is it? I'm gonna look it up. I forget. Assassin's Creed Shadow and Mirage. Are they not on Steam? They must not be on Steam. Because I have all of these. Except for Far Cry 3. I don't know why that's on there above Revelations and Remastered in the bundle, but... do I not have Freedom Cry? I might not have Freedom Cry. But I have all of the rest of the games except for the two new ones. But I think it's Shadow and Mirage. I know it's Mirage, but I think it's Shadow. Mirage takes place in Saudi Arabia? I think. Somewhere in the Middle East, I know, but I think it's Saudi Arabia. And then Shadow, if it's called Shadow, takes place in Japan. So those have already come out, and I think a similar thing to same critical reception to Star Wars Outlaws, which isn't exactly, not massively good. It's not going to be a cult classic or anything, but I believe the best Assassin's Creed games have already come out. Black Flag is obviously, everyone says that, but it's true. And my personal favorite is Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I still have yet to find. It got lost in the move, as things do, which is unfortunate, but not unexpected, so I'll have to find it soon enough. No, I just played that with my friends. I don't own it. But I liked Assassin's Creed Odyssey so much. I still haven't finished it, but I liked it so much. Okay, this looks funny. I liked it so much that I bought the companion for it that comes with a map and everything. This looks hilarious. No way. Graphics are... not the best quality. I've seen a lot of these simulators recently. We've had a simulator boom over the past few years, and I can't say that I'm a fan. The models of the people, there's no shading whatsoever. There's no shading. Looks like most of the development went into the packs of cards. Okay, that's hilarious. Let me see what people are saying about it. I might be excited for this game. I mean, it just came out, but overwhelmingly positive. That's good. I guess people knew what they were getting. Oh, it's only $13? Okay, that could be worth it. I got into House Flipper a few years ago, back when it became big, and played the hell out of that. I've beaten it 3 or 4 times all the way through. 100% in. And then I had all the DLC, but they've put more out. So, what was I saying? Yeah. So the Assassin's Creed games, I will be buying them because I have every single one of them. But what else am I looking forward to? Well, there's The Outer Worlds 2. I think I alluded to that earlier. The Outer Worlds 2 is an upcoming, not even 2025 game. We're looking at maybe 2026 release date. by Obsidian Studios. They're probably not going to get to work majorly on it until Avowed is out, and now that's been pushed back, so that's not good. Nirvana also has a to-be-announced release date, so naturally I'm looking forward to that. If you don't know, and I know I've said it before, but The Outer Worlds is actually my favorite game of all time, surpassing Minecraft and anything else. The other one's escaping me right now. But it is my favorite game. I have beaten it, and it remains my favorite game, mostly because of the humor, but also because of the messaging. But yeah, it is. So, the sequel would have to be either. It really has to be completely different. They can't make a direct sequel for various reasons, and if you'd like to talk me to talk about that, I can at length, ad nauseum. But I won't, to save your ears from bleeding this time. But they'd have to make an indirect sequel that doesn't directly tie into the main story, or have it be a spin-off, which would be odd for it to be called The Outer Worlds 2 in that case. So it certainly could be done, but I'm not sure if they will be able to pull it off, because Obsidian does make some of the best games ever created, but they also can miss, in my opinion. And certainly some of their projects have had higher quality than others. So what else am I looking forward to? Well, there's one last one. Well, of course, Nirvana. Two of my favorite games that I forgot at the moment were Fallout New Vegas and Nirvana. No, Valhalla. Excuse me. Cyberpunk Bartender Simulator. Those are two of my favorite games of all time. And Fallout New Vegas, the spiritual sequel's sequel is The Outer Worlds 2, and the sequel to Nirvana, I said it wrong again, Valhalla, Cyberpunk Bartender Simulator, is Nirvana. Cyberpunk Bartender Simulator, I think? We just saw it earlier, but I wasn't reading it. Cyberpunk Bartender Action. Action. That's what it is for both of them. Cyberpunk Bartender Action is the tagline. And while that's not coming out soon, I do look forward to it. And the last game that I'm really looking forward to is this little game. You've probably never thought about it before. It's called Spider-Man 3. It hasn't been officially announced. There have been a few very minor leaks. It's being very closely held, but it is being developed, we know that. And there's not much to say about it other than the Spider-Man game franchise, as in since 2018, has become one of my favorite game series of all time very, very quickly. I think the storytelling of really all three games could be improved, and each one is nearly perfect for various reasons, differing reasons, and each one could be improved with a few simple tweaks, and I can certainly dive into that if you'd like me to. But Spider-Man 3, ever since I Googled it to see if it was even a thing, has remained an exciting prospect to me, so I will definitely be following the development of it, and as it will likely come out on the PS5, I will be getting and playing it at least shortly after it comes out, if not day one. So yeah, you have something to look forward to there, and it's comic related, so I can definitely do a review. With that, I think that's all I have to say. I've talked long enough about the gaming industry, and and the games that I'm actually looking forward to. If there's any games you think I should look forward to, please let me know in the comments down below, because I'm always on the lookout for games, just like I'm always on the lookout for comics. You don't hear me talk about it much, but I play games a lot. Haven't as much recently, but that's only because I'm busy. So, I will end this video by saying thank you guys so much for watching. Please, if you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. It really does help. And I will catch you guys later this week. I have a little treat coming up telling you how I feel about the new PS5 Pro, and then after that I will see you Monday with the BatFam Hunger Games video that you all so desperately want, and I will give you the juicy meat of to tear into proverbially and with your eyes and ears. And I will also be live streaming, most likely with Joshua, the artist, on my original comic book with him, and we will be talking at length about that. So, thank you again, and I will see you